The pilot who traveled in time back to ancient Rome, according to claims, are trips possible in time? Well, some scientists believe the answer is yes. At first glance, an information of such caliber can sound fanciful if we take into account our parameters of reality. Since always in school it's been explained that time is linear, that is to say, it has past, present, and future. However, analyzing the testimony of many people who have suffered space-time anomalies, it could be said that time behaves in an incomprehensible way for our daily logic. Since always in school it's been explained that time is linear, it's past, present, future, but analyzing the testimony of many people who have suffered space-time anomalies, it could be said that time behaves in an incomprehensible way for our daily logic, without any apparent reason, because a temporary vortex intervenes and we find ourselves in an unexpected future or contemplating moments and places of the past as well. And this, without a doubt, is what we might think when observing cases like that of a pilot surnamed Davies, who in 1992 took off from a private airfield in Chester, England, piloting a simple Cessna plane. His goal was to get to Speck Airport in Liverpool, but something was waiting for him on his flight. All the indicators clearly marked the levels of the plane, the sky calm, the sounds of the plane with its unique tones and that unique rattle when you fly in a small aircraft, the clouds on the horizon. Davies passes by the Stamford Bridge area at this moment and realizes something strange. He observed on the surface there were cars the size of ants traveling on highways M53 and M56, and it was a real surprise. Those roads have disappeared. Cannot be though. Perhaps, as the protagonists of these events always think, they are the ones who were wrong, but Davies checks his scorecard and there is no error. It's in Stamford Bridge because of the coordinates and its geolocation, sure, but there's no sign of roads. This could be something like Outlander, and going back and forth in time. Who knows? Now, looking down, the pilot, totally intrigued, descends his plane to take a look at the area. He wants to see it better, and what you see is unfamiliar. His heart at that moment almost jumps through the air. It looks like a military squadron. The binoculars, where are they? He's looking for his binoculars. Davies looks from the binoculars of 10 by 50 increases in his small cabin to catch more details. There's nothing. It's all fields and low houses when there should be a city and roads. Just saw the lawn, an old road, and that squadron. He focuses on them making a pass with his airplane. It seems that they are organized like the Roman militias. On his right, there were constructions similar to the villas of the Emperor Julius Caesar, and a thick and low fog seemed to envelop the whole environment little by little and begins to cover the visibility of the pilot, who could no longer see all that manners, scenes of the empire that came from Egypt to Great Britain. That strange vapor had formed very quickly, as artificially, and began to engulf the plane. When Davies leaves the haze behind, he sees the A548 motorway, the grey buildings and the tiny cars. Everything had returned to normal after encountering a fold of space and time, with an amazing journey towards the era of the Breton Roman battles. I could not believe it, so he decided to fly. He couldn't believe, so he decided to fly over M56 road again, and he does it in circles to see it better, but he does not observe anything strange this time. Nervous about what happened, he lands and quickly calls different prefectures of the Cheshire City Hall to find out if that moment there was some kind of cinematographic filming of some Roman peplum, but nothing, and that call was absurd in itself because the road should have been there during his experience, and he could only see the field for hundreds of kilometers around. The protagonist was convinced that he had flown over a Britain area occupied by the Roman Empire thousands of years ago, and the truth is that it was not the first that something like this happened to him over the skies of Cheshire. The renowned helicopter pilot with military training assured in the same year that he lost communication with a control tower on another flight on the same route. The details were left for him since he never specified what he saw. He was afraid that it would happen to him like the flight officer Brian Holding, who on March 7, 1922, took off from the same Cheshire airport on a trip to Wales. And during his return, hundreds of witnesses observed his plane heading towards the airport of Cheshire. He never arrived and the remains were never found. The communications were suddenly interrupted and never again received radar echo from the device. The black box was never located. Different UFO sightings were made a few weeks before this incident in the area, but there was never anything conclusive. An airplane and an entire pilot swallowed by the earth, or in this case by the air. The most interesting thing that we can see in these cases of Cheshire is that in the first, the pilot's vision is not complemented by that of the soldiers, who without doubt would have been surprised to see a unique mechanical flying bird over their heads, which did not happen. In other words, they didn't notice the plane above them, as if again we were facing a simulation, or at least the witness moved invisibly in the eyes of the Roman squadron. It's a phenomenon of the vortices in this purest aspects. A single person in a controlled environment, a fog that begins and ends, and the event, and in between, a high-definition vision of a physically impossible environment in 1992. In the case of the missing flight of Brian Holding, we have a device that never lands, similar to what happened with the famous Flight 19 that took off from the base of Fort Lauderdale, Florida in 1945. The planes appeared again in the fiction in a great scene from the film Encounters in the Third Kind by Steven Spielberg of 1977. In reality, both World War II squadron and Brian Holding's plane remain in the deepest and most disconcerting abysses of extreme disappearances in the world of aviation. In the case of Flight 19, in the famous triangle, the Bermuda Triangle, in that of Brian Holding in the area of Cheshire, where other pilots reported amazing anomalies. Could it be possible that this pilot had found a gateway to another time, but not the exit one? The mysteries of the god Cronus, always keeping secrets from men who dare to travel through the heavens. And this is on Infinity Explorers by Ann Shrivastava. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.